Hello, I'm Chuck, and welcome to the Delaware Valley Original Music Showcase. Tonight, we continue our mission of helping support original music in the Delaware Valley with our three-step process. Listen, experience, and pass on original music, but we need your help to get the word out. So let's get started. Tonight's band is a dynamic duo in the Dork Rock category. But they're more than just musicians. They are putting on a show. A theatrical version, maybe. Some comedy, some serious. But they're always fun. Let's meet Jill and Matt. They are Hot Breakfast here on the Delaware Valley Original Music Showcase.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, my name is Jill. That is Matt over there. And we are a band from Wilmington, Delaware known as Hot Breakfast. And we are Delaware's premier acoustic dork rock power duo. The song you're hearing right now and that we're about to do to you right now is called Kids Today. And it's about those dirty, rotten, lazy, good-for-nothing kids today. What do? Nothing. Get a job. Make yourself useful. Ugh. They have no idea how hard we had it when we were growing up. So if you're under 25, this song is about you. And if you're over 40, this song is for you. And if you're between 26 and 39, you can just sit comfortably and play with your phone. Kids today, am I right? They've never worked a day in their life. They don't know how it feels to dig in their heels or even grow a callus on their hands. Our kids today will never understand. Kids today, what the hell? Their lives are spent inside some safety shell. They're spending their teens just staring at their screens and living in some virtual wonderland. Our kids today will never understand. Nope. Every generation has it better than the last, so everybody's had it worse than you. So you better sit and listen while we tell you about the past.
Yeah.
Really, it's the least that you can do. We used to ride our bikes with our heads exposed.
We played tapes on giant stereos.
We'd walk to school all on our own.
No internet, no mobile phones.
We paid for music, stood in lines.
We borrowed books and paid the fines.
And we had to scheme if we wanted to see some naked people on TV. Has it better than the last. At least I think it's how it's supposed to be. But I wouldn't call them blessed. They gotta grow up in this mess. I'm grateful they're the young ones, not me. Not me. Kids today, am I right? They've never worked a day in their life. They don't know what it means to give up on their dreams and give in to the corporate grind and know they're running out of time while singing bitter songs, screaming what the hell is wrong with kids today, stupid kids today, rotten kids today, douchebag kids today, kids today, kids today, kids today. Clean up your rooms, you ingrates. What do you want to do with your lives? Kids today.
So now you got a taste of their music. When we come back, we'll find out more about them in the interview.
Tick-tock,
difficult times, it's nice to know there are places that are trying to bring you some normalcy and still look out for your health. The Blue Crab Grill is one of those places, and you can enjoy a social distance dining experience or just get curbside pickup. All you have to do is call 302-737-1100 for a reservation or to place an order, or bluecrabgrill.com and make your reservation. And remember, we're all in this together.
One is not enough to rock. I'm sorry, but it's true. You cannot rock if you're just one. I hate to break it to you. So, as a band, we got our official concert was in 2009 as Hot Breakfast, but before then, we had been performing together, just sort of on and off, just as Jill and Matt, or Matt and Jill, I don't even know who they came first. But we met in 2002 doing a play, of all things, in Wilmington, Delaware. We did a production of Jesus Christ Superstar at the Wilmington Drama League. And as soon as we met, we just kind of clicked, and we knew that we were just kind of on the same wavelength. And then, do you want to tell them about the cabaret after Crossfit Jesus Christ Superstar?
Well, one of the cast was this very talented group of people that only a few of them got to kind of be stars and be solos. So we decided after each show, the whole cast would get together and have a little cabaret show where we would, where we would perform for each other, and people in the chorus who never got to have their big moment would perform a solo of some kind. And Jill and I decided to, hey, why don't we do a song or two together, which we did, and it just clicked.
Yeah.
It just turned out that, like, oh yeah, we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, so during the show, we realized we just clicked as friends, and then, at that little cabaret thing at the cast party, we just realized we might have some musical chemistry here, too. And Matt was a very accomplished solo artist back then, so in the early days of our collaboration, I would just sing on his solo records, just provide backing vocals, and we did a duet or something. But then we just started getting like little gigs here and there, just the two of us, doing a lot of his originals, but then also some covers. And then we just decided to start taking it more seriously in 2009, and just been kind of gangbusters ever since. We've been very lucky. Very, very lucky. So, yeah. So how are you supposed to rock? How many do you need to dig a hole in fertile soil and plant a rockin' seed? Should you be 3 like Rush, or 4 like the Pixies, or 5 like New Kids on the Block? Come listen, children, close to me, you'll see.
Yeah, I think we also had a penchant for doing funny songs, and so many, even as there's so many great singer-songwriters around. Many of them take themselves very seriously,
As you should.
as you should. But sometimes I feel like humor is underrepresented in a lot of music scenes, so we really thought we could bring something funny, something different.
Yeah, something different. Not every song that we do is funny. Like, we don't bill ourselves as a comedy band, but, the songs that, you heard during this session, we tried to pick kind of some of our funnier stuff because we feel like that's a good way to connect with the audience because, I just feel like humor is just something that we all just need, especially now, and it's just a way to just bring everybody together. And it doesn't, like, if you're in a live venue, you are sitting in a room full of people who could be ideologically different or socially different, socioeconomically different, all kinds of different, but if we're all laughing together, we're good, and we're happy to be the butt of that joke too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all good. So we just try to bring people together.
It only takes 2 to rock.
I was a huge Abbott and Costello fan.
Yeah.
Laurel and Hardy, Martin and Lewis. I grew up as a little kid. That was my jam.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. And it definitely informs, you know what I mean? Like, if that's the stuff you grow up on, then that's where you get your sense of comic timing and even just facial expressions, body language. I mean, that stuff really does, if you enter that world at a young age, it really does kind of get into your DNA, and it still kind of sticks even no matter how old you get, I think.
Back when the world was new. People crawled out of the sand. They looked around and said, we've got to start a rockin' band. So they gathered up guitars, keyboards and horns and basses. What a waste, they never knew that the power of two could melt their faces. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa.
Many places. So we, both of us will occasionally just like click some little hook or riff or melody or idea of something goofy that we want to sing about, and we'll record it into like a little tape recorder on our phone.
Yeah, on our phone.
And that is the source of many of the ideas that develop later into songs.
Also, Mac keeps a notepad next to his on his nightstand. So sometimes you just wake up weary at 4 in the morning. You're like, I have this thought. He just kind of scribbles it down, and then the next morning you're like, I don't even know what that says. But but sometimes you'll get inspiration just from these random thoughts you have. Through the morning.
And then usually I'll start by writing, coming up with some music and saying, hey Jill, how do you like this? And I always try to think in terms of like chord-based chunky rock and roll, like the Kinks, even like AC/DC, just songs that are like riffy and old-time rock and roll that we can jump on. And then once I have an idea down, I'll kind of audition it for Jill. And then from there, we're like, yeah, I like this part isn't working, how can we shape this into something that is a kind of a coherent hot breakfast song?
Yeah, but Matt really does all of the songwriting, and I think the only credit I can take from the songwriting side of things is I'll help shape it. So just like Matt said, he'll bring me a song that's probably halfway done, maybe, and then he'll kind of, like you said, audition it for me, and then I'll say, well, would this work if we swung this over here? Or sometimes you don't have to touch it all, and it's perfect the way it is. I mean, he's such a gifted songwriter that, a lot of times we just, might change a word here and there, but that's it. And otherwise, most of the time, it's like perfect the way it comes right out. You write a good song, Matt.
But not always. Sometimes it's what I think is funny isn't translating at all. And I have a background in playwriting, and I understand that from playwriting too, that I think I've got this great thing out and the audience is just, what? So it's really nice to be able to have Jill there to be that audience and to help turn these into a good, coherent song. Yeah, I can say coherent even though our songs are anything but still.
I'll get right to the point. If you think that two can tear up the joint, well, you're in for a shock because it only takes two to rock.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. Yeah, I don't know what the magic formula is with two people and whether they have it or not. There definitely has to be similar goals and similar wavelengths, not just in musical taste, but in our approach to performing. I mean, I think both of us have this kind of theatrical approach to doing a show.
Yeah.
And but we find that just by continuing to work together, and especially during this pandemic, we have been focused on doing many shows that are being live streamed. And that's really helped us to keep this chemistry going, for sure. Where, we're at the point now where Jill starts a joke and I'll start riffing on it, and we get this, and we end up in a place like, hey, that was like a finish line. It's amazing we got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a combination of having the same mindset, having the same goals, but constantly working together, and even just talking or riffing and getting to that point where you know each other.
Yeah.
You know each other well enough that you can just finish each other's
sentences. Totally natural. Perfect.
Killed it.
So we also, in addition to being Hot Breakfast, we both have we've both been studio musicians since our teens, oddly. And we didn't grow up, I grew up in North Jersey, Matt grew up in Delaware, so we didn't meet until 2002, but it was odd how similar our young musician backgrounds were, coming up. I was a choir nerd and a band kid, and Matt was a band kid, jazz band kid, and again, in our just parallel lives, we were studio musicians as well. I went to school for music, and so I met a lot of great musicians going to music school. And Chuck, you brought up a really good question where you were asking about chemistry, and I just wanted to mention this just real quick. So because Matt and I have this studio musician background, we get asked to supplement
other bands a lot. Um, so we're both multi-instrumentalists, so, sometimes we'll jump in as a horn section, or Matt plays saxophone, so he'll, be a sax player for, somebody's band, whatever. So, you have to be flexible. And I really think chemistry, a lot of it is just being open and being kind, and also just kind of being able to read the room. So, when you're walking in as a guest, or as a hired gun into a situation where everybody in the core band has been working together for 20 years, you just kind of have to know your place and realize, I'm not the alpha dog here. I'm just going to kind of sit tight and do my job and show up on time, and you do your job and you leave. But through that, you get good relationships, and then you can build good chemistry.
And then one fateful night, when the planets all aligned, the gods of rock decreed that these two souls must be combined. Then the earth reversed its course, as Matt and Jill we joined our forces. The moon's eclipsed, the seas caught fire. Trust us, dude, we checked our sources. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa. Now here's some good advice. If they say,
I bet they're soft and nice.
take that bet, it's a lock, because it only takes two to rock.
I am surprised at how far we've gotten. We've been really lucky. We got to play South by Southwest 3 years in a row. We've played on stage a zillion times with the Dead Milkmen. People who are our age, you might remember this Punk Rock Girl, from the 80s, and they're still playing. We did a recording project, did a documentary with them. So we've been really, really lucky to just, to be able to do what we do. So every time we get a new opportunity, I'm delightedly surprised, but I think if you leave yourself open to having good things come to you, it's ever so slightly increases the chance of those things coming to you. And I know that sounds kind of woo, but that's where I am.
I think that as long as you define success as making the music itself, and I love being in the recording studio and making a record, and maybe it's a fault of mine, but once it's done, I feel like, hey, we made this record, I'm so proud of it, I love it, and I need to be in the mindset of maybe we should get other people to listen to it, but the fact of making it, to me, is just success. So I've always defined success as, if we just get to play together doing one of our daytime live stream shows, that's successful. And if we get to have a gig where we play and people, there's people in the audience who like us, that's success. So as long as you don't, and it's not to say you shouldn't be ambitious, of course you should. If you want to climb the ladder, there's certainly ways to do that, and we have done that to an extent, but as long as you're happy making the music that you're making, no matter whether it's recording or playing with other people or just doing our own gigs, that's the success I want. There really is. There's so much joy in just being able to make music that people hear and like. And I don't say that's all I want, because of course it's great to do that on a bigger scale, but it is really what I want. So I feel extremely successful in that fashion.
Hey.
So take a number, all you ladies. Come take a ride in our Mercedes. We'll whip it good, just like the 80s. Come on, cutie. Shake that booty.
On duty.
Come on, sweetie. Sign my treaty. Break it down, Chuck Old style. Yeah.
Sometimes people ask if we're a couple or not, and in the past we liked to kind of keep that nebulous.
Like, I don't know, are we, because it just kind of made it kind of fun. But obviously, since the pandemic, I mean, we kind of came out, probably a couple years ago at this point. But I think with the pandemic, it's very obvious we live together at this point, so there's no hiding it anymore right now. But sometimes people ask that, and then sometimes we'll kind of give like a little coy answer, but, we're a couple, yeah. But again, you don't have to.
Well, how's that dynamic play into making music?
It's funny, when we first, started dating, which, wasn't until 2011.
Yeah, we were a band before we ever looked at each other like, dating possibilities. It was very odd.
But that was a factor. We were like, well, are we still going to be able to practice, and are we going to be able to take it seriously and all that? And after a few times, yeah, we totally can.
Sure.
And it's, we still have that. I mean, the thing is, because we're here together, we're constantly, hey, I have this idea, do you want to listen to it?
Yeah.
And it's, I think it's exactly the same dynamic we had before. The only difference is, and it's, it used to be when we practiced, that was what we were doing. It's 3 o'clock, someone's coming over to someone else's place, we're going to sit down, and for 2 hours we're going to practice or write songs or whatever. Whereas now, that's a little harder to enforce, not for any reason except that, we'll do it later, I want to watch TV or whatever.
Yeah, I make dinner.
So that is something that I think you got to struggle with, of saying, it is now music time, it is focus time, practice, that's what we're doing for the next hour.
And it's even harder during lockdown, too, through this entire pandemic, you know that you are going to be home until we don't know when. So there's always, we can do that tomorrow. There's always some of that. But the truth is I always say, you do what you want to be doing. What are you doing right now? I'm doing what I want to be doing. So if there's a musical thing we need to do, if we need to rehearse or something, and I'm doing something else, I have to think, why am I doing this other thing? Is it because I'd rather be doing this other thing, or would I rather be writing, would I rather be working on music? And the answer always is, no, put this thing away. You really actually rather be doing music. So I'm like, okay, come on, let's go do music. Or he'll say, come on, let's work on music. Because ultimately, that's what makes us both tick. That's, before everything else, we're musicians. So, as much as I want to, sit and play with my phone, music comes first. Yeah. So you see, my friends, it only takes two to rock. But never before in the history of rock and roll have two people joined forces and rocked except us. It's an exciting place to be in the annals of...
Hall & Oates?
All right, it happened to them, but to Hall & Oates and us, and we're the only two duos.
Sam and Dave?
All right, it happened to them as well, but to them, Hall & Oates and us, and that's it.
The White Stripes, the Black Keys, happened to them. The Righteous Brothers, totally happened to those
you
guys.
You are killing me.
Wham, featuring George Michael, happened to them.
Dude, George Michael is never gonna dance again.
I've got faith. Oh, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, it happened to them.
It did happen to them. Hey, whatever happened to that Fresh Prince guy?
I don't know, he was so cute.
I hope he did okay for himself.
Yeah.
Alright, so the whole purpose of this song is how we're the only two people in the history of rock and roll who formed a rock duo and rocked, and now you just listed 5 million rock duos, so that makes this song moot. And awkward.
Even more so than usual.
But there's only one band performing for you right this second on Delaware Valley's original music showcase, and this band happens to be called Hot Breakfast. Hot Breakfast! 1, 2, 3, 4! Whoa, oh, oh, whoa! So now you know it's true. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa! We did the math for you. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa! Whatever you're into. When they tell you only big bands will do, well, you know it's a crop, because it only takes two to rock. Yes, it only takes two to rock. Yes, it only takes two.
Only two.
Me and you.
You and me.
Two, not three.
I'm not four.
And no more.
Only two.
That'll do, because it only takes two to rock.
During these difficult times, it's nice to know there are places that are trying to bring you some normalcy and still look out for your health. The Blue Crab Grill is one of those places, and you can enjoy a social distance dining experience or just get curbside pickup. All you have to do is call 302-737-1100 for a reservation or to place an order, or bluecrabgrill.com.
There's a hole in your pants, a hole in your pants. I want to be polite and look away, but I can't. Though you may have a soul filled with poppies and gold, all I know is the hole in your pants. There's a hole in your pants, as spacious as France. The placement's so provocative, it can't be by chance. 'Cause the green dragonfly on the skin of your thigh draws the eye to the hole in your pants. And how dare you make me choose between proper piety and my need to be amused at your fabric absentee? And how dare you make me stare at the cloth that isn't there? You've a flair for trouser wear that's tantalizingly bare. Oh, it's dirty. As you pose and you prance, I'm caught in a trance under